If long algebra expressions overwhelm you, watch this. We'll shrink them in seconds using the greatest common factor. By the end, you'll factor any expression by pulling out what all terms share. Let's see an example. We have the expression 6x plus 9. The numeric greatest common factor of 6 and 9 would be 3. So let's pull that here. 6 and 3 greatest common factor is equals to 3. So now what we're gonna do is factor 3 out. And what do we multiply by 3 so that we get 6x? Well, we can multiply 2x. 3 times 2x is 6x. And then we can multiply by 3 so that we get positive 9. 3 times 3, it's positive 9. And that's it. Now we can distribute back to see if this gives us the same expression before. We have 3 times 2x, 6x, plus 3 times 3, 9. Let's see another example. This time with numbers and variables. We have the expression 12x squared plus 18x. The greatest common factor between 12 and 18 is going to be 6. And for the variable, we are going always to take the smallest exponent. In this case, the smallest exponent belongs to this x. So our greatest common factor in the variable side is the x. So we factorize 6 and we factorize x. And we multiply that by anything we are missing to get to this expression. So what do we multiply by 6x so that we get 12x squared? We can multiply it by 2x. 6x times 2x equals 12x squared. Plus, what do we multiply by 6x so that we get 18x? Pretty easy. We can multiply positive 3. And we are done. Let's see another example by using two variables. So we have the expression 14a cubed b squared plus 21a squared b cubed, and let's see what's that equals to. So first of all, let's check for the numeric greatest common factor. So the common factor, or the greatest common factor better, between 14 and 21 is going to be 7, right? So this is the number we're going to factor out, 7. Now, for the letters, we have two different letters, two different variables. So what is the smallest exponent for a? That's a squared. So that's the one we're going to factor out, a squared. And then what is the smallest exponent for b? It is b squared. That's the one we're going to factor out. So we have 7a squared b squared times. What do we multiply by 7a squared b squared so that we get 14a cubed b squared? So 7 times 2 is 14. Now, a squared times a is a cubed, because we can just add the exponents 2 and 1 to get us to 3. And finally, what are we missing to get b squared? Well, nothing, right? So we can just leave it like this. Plus, what do we multiply by 7 to get 21? Well, that's 3. What do we multiply by a squared to get a squared? Just 1, so we can just leave it like this for now. And finally, what can we multiply by b squared so that we get b cubed? We can multiply b, right? So this is the factored form of this expression, 7a squared b squared times 2a plus 3b. And if we distribute, we can see that we're going to come back to the original expression. 7 times 2 is 14, a squared times a is a cubed, and the b squared. Plus 7 times 3 is 21, a squared, and b squared times b is b cubed. And there we are, exactly the same expression that we had at the beginning. Now we're going to see a tip for when we have a leading negative coefficient, like in this expression, negative 15x cubed plus 6x squared. So we know that between 15 and 6, our greatest common factor will be 3. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 5, 15. Now, what I'm gonna do is factor out the negative from the 15. So I'm gonna factor out negative 3. And for the variable, the smallest exponent is x squared. So we factor out x squared. So we have negative 3x squared times this negative that is factored makes the first term on the parentheses, inside the parentheses, a positive because it was before a negative. Now it's making it a positive. So negative 3x squared times what give us negative 15x cubed? Well, that's gonna be negative 3x squared times 5x, positive 5x. And then the second term, negative 3x squared times what give us positive 6x squared. So this will be a negative term if we want to make it a positive, right? So we put a negative on it, and negative 3x squared times negative 2, for example, will give us positive 6x squared. If we distribute back, negative 3x squared times 5x, that will be negative 15x cubed, and negative x squared times negative 2 would be positive 6x squared, and there we have the expression that we had at the beginning. Here you have two exercises for your practice. If you want, you can take a screenshot and then practice them on your own. And of course, here you have the answers so that you can check your results. Here you have a fast greatest common factor trick. Lowest exponent wins for variables. For example, if you have the expression 12x squared plus 18x, pull the 6 from the 12 and 18. That's the greatest common factor between 12 and 18. And the smallest x power. That means x in this case. And we have 6x times 2x plus 3. And we are done. Mastered greatest common factor. What's next? Difference of squares, which we call the 5-second factorization. Stay tuned. We'll be uploading this new video about difference of squares pretty soon.